What is up, guys? It is Marcus from Perspective Sports, and today we'll go over the winners and losers from last night's draft. And I found there to be 5 total winners and only just 2 losers from last night's draft. So without further ado, let's dive right into it, starting with the winners. And winner number 1 is the Los Angeles Lakers. Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka are doing a masterful job, and they have exceeded my expectations from what they've been able to do. The Lakers managed to get Brook Lopez via trade, perfectly clearing the way for Lonzo Ball, their number 2 overall pick, to come in and play his style of ball, no pun intended. But that's not the only reason they're winners. They also made a trade last night which made me have to put them in the winners category, and that's when they traded former North Carolina center Tony Bradley, their 28th overall pick, to the Utah Jazz in exchange for former Villanova shooting guard Josh Hart, the 30th overall pick, and former Indiana center Thomas Bryant, the 42nd overall pick. The Lakers not only added depth with this trade, they also added quality players who can come in and I believe play right away. Not getting big numbers, but definitely can make an impact on this young Lakers team. So this trade shouldn't be taken with a grain of salt. And winner number 2 is the Golden State Warriors, who did not own a draft pick in this year's draft, but still managed to get involved. The Warriors acquired former Oregon center Jordan Bell for cash considerations, and this might have just been the steal of the draft in terms of trades. The Warriors needed size, rim protection, and a real actual big man, and they got all of that and Jordan Bell for just cash considerations. That alone makes them winners from last night's draft. Winner number 3, and quite possibly the winners of the NBA draft, the Minnesota Timberwolves, who acquired Jimmy Butler and center Justin Patton, the 16th overall pick from Creighton, from the Chicago Bulls in exchange for the 7th overall pick, which turned into Lauri Markkanen, guard Zach LaVine, and point guard Chris Dunn. The Timberwolves made out in this deal, acquiring one of the best two-way players, a 3-time All-Star, 3-time All-Defensive Team member, and the 2015's Most Improved Player in Jimmy Butler for not that much as far as I'm concerned. I'm not very high on Zach LaVine. Chris Dunn, we don't know much about him. He's going into his 2nd year, so we can't really write him off. And as long as the 7th pick wasn't Jonathan Isaac, which it wasn't, he went 6th, the Timberwolves benefited big time. And now they still have a core that can seriously be reckoned with Ricky Rubio, Andrew Wiggins, Jimmy Butler, and Karl Anthony Towns. This team is just a few more pieces away from being a serious contender. Winner number 4, who happens to be the Sacramento Kings, whose front office showed confidence yesterday, which is honestly refreshing, as they didn't waver at number 5, taking their guy De'Aaron Fox out of Kentucky, then trading back with the Portland Trail Blazers, and for the 10th pick, who turned out to be Zach Collins out of Gonzaga, they got the 15th and 20th picks. They filled a need by taking small forward Justin Jackson out of North Carolina, as Rudy Gay does not look to be coming back, so the Kings definitely need a small forward, and they took kind of a project big with Harry Giles out of Duke. So I have to chalk this up as a win for the Sacramento Kings for staying true to a game plan and seeing it through. And for our 5th and final winner, the Portland Trail Blazers, who filled a big need last night by trading up to take Zach Collins out of Gonzaga and staying pat to take Caleb Swanigan out of Purdue. They may not seem like quality players or a big deal, but this is a huge win for Portland, getting a stretch big like Collins and a big who can command the paint like Caleb Swanigan. And quite frankly, both guys can rebound, as they combine for 19 total rebounds per game. This is a big-time win for Portland, who really needs bigs, and they definitely got 2 quality ones in Zach Collins and Caleb Swanigan. Now for our losers, and loser number 1 is the New York Knicks, and Phil Jackson keeps getting worse and worse, passing on the most underrated point guard and possibly the most underrated player in the first round, Dennis Smith Jr. out of North Carolina State, to try his hand overseas once again. And I'll give it to Jackson. He hit the jackpot drafting Kristaps Porzingis, but passing on a player like Dennis Smith Jr. for Frank Ntilikina, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, is just a terrible move and decision. Dennis Smith will prove to be the steal of the lottery, falling to the Mavericks, who are honestly lucky to still get him at 9. I have nothing against Frank, but as far as I'm concerned, I don't see him being anything special in the NBA. And on top of that, if Phil Jackson wasn't impressed by Dennis Smith, why pass on a player like Malik Monk out of Kentucky, who I feel can be a serious game changer in the NBA? And for our 2nd and final loser, the Chicago Bulls, who decided it was time to part ways with All-Star Jimmy Butler. And in return, they got 2 point guards in the 7th overall pick, Lauri Markkanen, who I still believe will be a serviceable player in the NBA. But on top of getting the short end of the stick in the Minnesota deal, they got schemed by the Golden State Warriors, who got former Oregon center Jordan Bell from the Bulls for just cash considerations. Also earlier this week, Dwayne Wade announced he'll be picking up his $24 million player option until the Bulls are stuck with his contract for the season. And last night was just a rough night and it's been a rough week for the entire Chicago Bulls organization. Well, I hope you guys did enjoy the video. Please let me know down in the comment section who you think won and lost the draft and who you think will be the steal of the draft. I'll see you down there. I'm out.